Hey, have you ever sat down and watched Bob Ross paint a beautiful picture? He starts with one object, like his happy little trees, but he doesn't finish it all the way until the very end where he's putting that light or the shade in and it becomes this beautiful picture. Well, God is a creator. He is a loving father, just like how Bob Ross created. Now, when Bob Ross starts, he puts that one object into play. And as an onlooker, you don't know if it's going to have a bunch of happy trees or if it'll have a mountain in the background or a lake or what it might look like until the very end. And God, He's a creator like that. He gives us bits and pieces like you're putting together a puzzle, and He gives us those pieces. We may not be able to see the whole picture, but God has given us the pieces that we need to put into play next. And just like in a time like we are now, where we don't know what the summer's going to hold or when we can plan our next vacation, or even just to get together with friends, a large group of friends. And I've missed that and longed for my friendships so much, that I find texting and FaceTiming way more than I did before. But just like God, where He gives us bits and pieces, Thomas is a disciple that we talked about this past Sunday. And Thomas was a follower of Jesus. He knew what Jesus was teaching and telling the people around him. And Thomas was one that was going out and teaching. But when Jesus appeared to the disciples the first time, Thomas wasn't there. So it's not that he didn't believe, but he didn't believe. And so that second time when Jesus appeared to the disciples in that room with the door locked, and Jesus came to him and said, Thomas, put your fingers here. Put them in my side so that you can believe. Thomas longed for that hands-on evidence so many of us try to find. And I'm guilty of that. Many times we talked about Thomas's nickname, Doubting Thomas. And I've been guilty of that, doubting what the big picture really is when I can only see that one piece, that one object of that painting in front of me. But you know what? I have hope that my hope is in God, and that I can trust Him in whatever picture He paints for my life, because I know it's for His glory. And just like an artist, they may start with an object and we may be guessing what it is. Could it be a banana? Could it be the moon? And it's not until the final end that we're able to get to see what the big picture looks like. Now, my artist skills, I can hear my art teacher from elementary school saying, Charity, you can do better. But I know that God is a beautiful creator. And it's been fun to sit and watch God's creation around us during this time, that we're able to have time to stop and smell the roses, literally, the flowers. And so as we follow God's direction, He leads us one step at a time. And it's His masterpiece. It's not about us, but it's about Him. And as we walk with Him through prayer, through reading His Word, through diving into the Scriptures and memorizing Scripture verses, that we're able to see the big picture, or pieces of that big picture. God may start with a picture that looks like a banana, like we just saw, but then He uses those situations to shape us and to mold us. And so a picture of us that may look like a bare tree, and once we go through a situation, whether it's grief or anxiety, makes a beautiful tree with fruit, with flowers. And so He is going to produce a beautiful picture that gives Him the glory. So here's what I'll leave with you. This is a time where we can just look up, and as we walk through this time, in many different places, God is around us. He's shaping us. He's molding us so that we can share our story for His glory. And as we do that, the final picture, but we're able to have that hope in Him, and His word that is given to us. In Hebrews chapter 11, verse 1, it says, "Now faith is the reality of what is hoped for and the proof of what is not yet seen."